This is my desk chair. And this is my desk. And that's my fish. His name's Richard Parker. And this is our first video. So, for those of you who have been asking, as promised, we're bringing you a video, number one. And number two, this is also proof that just like you, I do actually sit at a desk all day and stare at a screen all day. So I know what that feels like. And these are especially for you. But these videos are really gonna be for anyone who is just looking to bring a little more work-life integration. That's a phrase that I heard a couple years ago. And there's so much talk about work-life balance. And work-life balance between, balancing what you're doing for work with your personal life and keeping them very separate. But as we know, that's nearly impossible to do because, no one has a 9-to-5 job anymore. We're working so many hours. And so you want to be happy while you're there and feel fulfilled while you're there. And there are things that you can do that make that easier. So hopefully that this video will only add to that toolbox if you already have a lot of techniques you use for that, or maybe it will just start it. And hopefully this will support you between classes. So if you are already a YoJo client and we come to your office, maybe we see you once a week or maybe less, and there's a lot of time in between that, which is sometimes hard to stay on track if you don't have support. So the first thing that we want to do in this challenge, or the first thing we want to do in this video series, is bring a challenge. It's a new year, which is, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about New Year's resolutions. I love all holidays and themes and things to get excited about that are part of, a larger community of people getting excited. So I always love New Year's resolutions. And so, maybe you want to call this that or maybe not. But I'll tell you, if you like them or you don't, here's the thing about New Year's resolutions. You have this massive momentum behind you because January, so many people are filled with hope again. And the number one resolution that people make always has to do with health. Mostly also has to do with weight and being thin and being happy. And so it's so much easier to sit at a table full of people eating salad and order a salad than it is to sit at a table full of people ordering pizza and order a salad. Meaning, if you want to make those changes, you don't have to go against the grain. It's just easier. If your coworker's eating a bag of donuts, you're more likely to want to eat a donut than a piece of broccoli. I don't know why I keep talking about food, but it feels right. And I think donuts and pizza are just things that a lot of people can relate to. Anyway, the first part of this will be a 40-day meditation challenge. So the first part of this whole video series will be support to help you meditate for 40 days straight. And this will be for people who have never meditated before or people who just want a little support in their meditation practice and some food for thought about meditation. So we will have weekly videos coming out every single Monday through the 40 days and things for you to do in between each video. And we're using 40 days because 40 days is the amount of time to effectively change a habit or to cement something new into your brain, a new way of doing something. So for today, 3 tactics that will help you meditate really well, especially if you're trying to get in a routine and it's new, or if you just feel a little rusty or stuck for whatever reason. The first one, which is how I actually started my practice, was having extremely low expectations. So every time I first started to try to meditate and I would have these bigger goals, it would always start well, kind of explosive. I think a lot of people in New York have this sort of explosive personality, meaning that they will get really, really excited and go all in, but then the energy just kind of drops and falls off. So maybe I would meditate, a week straight for a half hour, but after that it would just seem so arduous and I would dread it. When I started to just meditate for 5 minutes, that felt really realistic, and it actually became sustainable, and I started to do it every single day. And then if I fell off, I would also have low expectations in terms of if I skip a day, oops, just jump back on the next day and not make a big deal of it. So keep the expectations low. Maybe your expectations are 5 times a week for 5 minutes. So you're meditating 25 minutes a day, and then that's 100 minutes a month about. Making a goal like that, something that you can check off and actually feel like you accomplished and achieved, will lead you to then have another month of it. So having really small goals, like maybe it's just for this 40-day challenge, it's 5 minutes every day for those 40 days. Maybe then when you set it that way, you'll be like, you know what, I'm ready to take it up to 7 or 10, but keep it really low. And when I say low expectations, I don't mean very low. So I've seen challenges out there for like a 1-minute meditation. There is something about closing your eyes for a minute that's great, but I wouldn't call it a meditation practice. Low expectations and very low expectations are 2 different things. Give yourself at least 5 minutes. In 1 minute, it may take you that amount of time to just stop circling around your own thoughts. So give yourself 5. It's always Goldilocks. Not too much, not too little, just right. So don't take low too far. And as you go further with it, there is a balance between being very compassionate on yourself and being disciplined and kicking your own butt. But in the beginning, keep the expectations low, just not too low. The second tip is to build a routine. So pick a time and build it in as part of your routine. So it's ritualized. Your body knows at this time of day you're going to do this thing. And your body will pick it up if you do it consistently. Like it will start to feel off if that time isn't filled with that activity. So that means, first thing in the morning typically is best. Your brain is empty, you haven't been stimulated and saturated with other things, but that might not work for you. So find a time. Maybe you want to lock yourself in a bathroom stall at 1 p.m. in the afternoon when your coworkers are out eating lunch. If that works for you and gives you the reprieve that you need, go with it. So find that time and secure it into your routine. The third tip is to set the circumstances. So there's always some prep work that happens. I remember years back, I had a yoga teacher and she spent a lot of time studying in India. So she was a little bit stricter to the tradition. And so many of us would come in with water bottles. And our class was really popular and it was designed for teachers. So the room would be filled to the brim with mats. And one day she just yelled at all of us and said, get your water bottles out of here and stop getting up to go to the bathroom. If you really prepared for this class, you would have been hydrated last night and then you wouldn't have needed to drink water before the class and you wouldn't need to go to the bathroom now and you wouldn't need to drink water now. And I never forgot about that, and I also never brought a water bottle back. But she was right. There was a certain preparation that was ritualized that when I then started to drink water the night before, I felt even better for the class. I felt like I was setting myself up to be more likely to go. I was creating the circumstances for myself. And it's one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten that actually keeps me steady with a lot of the self-care that I do. So set your circumstances. Maybe that means if you're going to meditate first thing in the morning, that you wake up 30 minutes earlier just to get that 5 minutes so you can hit the snooze and you can set up the space where you're going to meditate and you can, procrastinate for 5 minutes, whatever it is. Start to know yourself and what you need and prepare your circumstances so that it's more likely to happen as though you're clearing the path for yourself to get there. Because if you don't set the circumstance, obstacles will find their way to you and it will be hard to get there and show up. Suddenly you'll, if part of the circumstance is turning your phone on airplane, suddenly your phone will be ringing 5 minutes before. And even if you don't answer it, you'll know who called and that will be in your brain. or you didn't lay your clothes out. So now you know that you're gonna have to rush to find them. So think about it. Everyone's different. I don't want to write a prescription for you. You got to do that on your own. But think about what you actually need and then set those circumstances. So the 3 tips are: have low but not too low expectations, create a routine, so meditate the same time every day, and set the circumstances so that you can do it. Now, for this first week for yourself, try to just bring those patterns in. If you've never meditated before, I didn't really give you a tactic for how. Just sit with your eyes closed and set a timer for 5 minutes and do your best to focus on your breathing and the sensations in your body. Now, just showing up for 5 minutes every day and following those tips will do a lot for you. If you already have a meditation technique you like, please use it. Next week, we'll spend a little more time building the technique, but first we're just laying the groundwork so it can actually happen. So I think that kind of covers it. If you have questions, if you have comments, I actually don't know how you can get those to me, but I'm sure you'll find a way, and I'm sure soon we'll let you know. Until then, have a great week.